Hey all, David T here from Fieldsport Scotland, and here is my review for the Zulus 4K, which is here, from DNT. It's quite a controversial review, but we'll get to it in an absolute second. Hi there guys. Well, so this has been a kind of ongoing thing for the last couple of weeks. I have been running this, quite a few videos for you guys, on and off shorts and stuff like that. Well, the day it released, I released a few videos of me shooting deer at long range, and I've put a few teasers in there. Now, my review of the ZT4K is, that's what the actual name of the Zulus is not going to be what a lot of you have quite expected in regards to this, because initially I wasn't actually a fan of this scope. Now, this scope was actually announced a way back at the British Shooting Show last year. Now we're almost at the British Shooting Show this year, which I will be there. I'm scheduled to attend to be on the DNT stand, but I've also got a few other people that I need to go and see while I'm down there. And I'm going to talk about the scope itself. And first of all, here it is. It's on my 223. I just put this on the 223 today. It is a very good looking scope. You would have saw the unboxing. It sits very well. It comes with the scope mounts, and the scope mounts are nice low profile top mounts, so it allows us to put on this. That is a fantastic feature of this scope. It gives you plenty of real estate so that you can put rails and stuff in to mount an IR. This scope does not come with an IR. Now I'm going to take the lens cover off and the sunshade off, because these two things detract for what the actual size of the scope is. Now, the scope has got a 60+ millimeter eye relief, which means it is fully rated for using with a centerfire. It's a very, very light scope. It's very clear image during the day, and it has a bullet drop compensator and the laser rangefinder. Now, a lot of people are talking about new features on other brands where the laser rangefinder is built into the lens of the scope. Now, it's not really built into the lens of the scope as such. The housing of the scope, the bell housing of the scope, that's this bit here, is just bigger, and it incorporates and encases a very similar, same design to what that is, and then they just put a bit of a black kind of lens over the top, or they put the glass in front. The reason why this is so light is because it hasn't got massive extra glass on it that is there to cover up certain things like the laser rangefinder. It's a very simple scope to use for most of you guys who are used to using night vision scopes. We have power on button here. We have our record brightness buttons and stuff here. So if you also have your day and night vision button here, and then you have your laser rangefinder and record here. Not record, your laser rangefinder down the bottom here. Tapping the button will also, at the top here, all your menus are done through this and the top button here. The features in this scope are not that different from many other scopes on the market. Where this scope stands above the rest is its weight. It is rated to 50 cal. It's been tested to 50 cal. It is rated to be used out and about in the field. It's IP67 rated, so it's weather resistant. I haven't had the lenses fog up on me, and I've been using in the snow and things like that. It's been great. I've used it on the 6.5 PRC, as you've seen, long distance on my previous video, shooting out to over 400 yards. Ballistic drop calculator work seems to be working fine. I've used it on the 22LR for some plinking on the initial testing and the image quality tests and stuff like that. And today I've zeroed it on to this to do a bit of foxing with it, hopefully over the next couple of weeks or the next couple of days. And I've got it on the 223. Now, day vision on this is a day scope. Genuinely, this is a day digital scope with night vision capabilities. Where I see the usefulness of this scope is if you are like me, who is a deer stalker, and you've got night licenses and stuff like that, you can pretty much throw this on one rifle, go out and do a bit of deer stalking or deer management, and then if you're wanting to carry in on after dark because you've got various night licenses or whatever, or if you want to go foxing afterwards, you can put an IR torch on top, and there you have, and then turn it to night vision mode. There you have it. There's a lot of myths going on about these scopes. Now, although this is 4K, okay, it doesn't record in 4K. It records in 1080p. Now, I haven't come across a scope that does record in 4K. The 4K is also 30 frames per second. Now, 30 frames per second is double what is on the HIC Micro Alpex. That's 15 frames per second. The colour has got enhanced mode as well as natural mode. And I prefer the natural mode and using the natural mode because of the fact that the colours are not so sharp. Now, there's a sheep. What's the range on that? 512 yards. Sheep at 512 yards in the trees there. Long way. See it kind of clear. Good colour. I've got it on enhanced mode. So. When you're in a hunting scenario and you've got sharp colours and lots of contrasts all working against each other, it will still camouflage your deer or whatever. The most important part of your image is not the background. It's not whether you can see raindrops coming down. It's not whether the heather is looking beautifully purple. The most important part of your image is your target. For me, it's the deer that I'm looking at. I don't care if the background's blurry. I don't care if the foreground is blurry and the heather is not showing its purple buds, or I can't see the raindrops or the snow falling. None of that makes any difference to me. All of that is a distraction. The most important thing that I want to see is whatever I'm about to shoot at. And if it's an animal, I want to know that I'm going to be able to shoot that humanely and ethically. And this scope has been able to do that. I've had a few moments because in 4K, when you're tracking an animal in enhanced mode, you'll get certain lagging. Now, I got that in the Alpex 4K as well. You can't see it in any of the footage. I've tried replicating it and trying to show it on footage. I've even put my phone to the glass. It's not very easy to do, using various kind of devices, and it doesn't replicate it. It's just something that you experience as a shooter. Now, 4K is a number. You guys as customers out there have come to the point where because you can buy a TV that's got 4K, 8K or whatever capabilities, that is what you want and that's what you need. Well, when it comes to actual hunting, that's not what you need. That is not what you want. 4K is a distraction. The number 4K. All the manufacturers know this, but they know that the buzzword 4K, 5K, 6K, 8K, that sort of thing is going to sell their products. What you need is a viable product for be able to go out in the field with and actually shoot what you need to shoot. If you're shooting targets, fine, the most optimum color you want, and yes, you'll get the good thing about 4K is it will hold its clarity as you're zooming in. So if you've got a 1080p scope or an Ultra HD scope, which is technically 2K, your base mag is always going to be your best quality, and as you zoom in, you're stretching the pixels so it gets less and less, more like 2K. Then it goes from Ultra HD to HD, and then it goes to 720p kinda as you're zooming in. With 4K, real 4K, that is exactly what, again, is what's happening. You start off at your 4K, and as you zoom in, you're doubling the pixel stretch, so you then 2K, and then so Ultra HD, then to HD, and then to 720 as you zoom in to that. So the more you zoom in, the more your pixels are going to be stretched, and you're not getting 4K at maximum zoom. You're probably getting 720p at maximum zoom, or the equivalent to that. So I do kind of giggle, and I've kind of messed about with you guys a little bit over this last week in regards to comments on my YouTube and things like that, in regards to, oh, this is not as clear as that, and that's not as clear as this, is it? I can tell you some of the main reasons why I would purchase this scope over an Alpex 4K. One of the main reasons, the weight. The Alpex 4K with mounts is over 1.5 kilograms. Simple as that. If you put cheap mounts on, yes, it's about 1.2 kilograms. If when you put a torch on, then your weight is suddenly went right up, depending on what torch you've got. Some of these guys have got bloody torches that are way bigger than the scope, and they're well over 2 kilo on top of your rifle. That's a lot of weight on top of your rifle, and a lot of guys are putting these scopes on lightweight rifles, lightweight stalking rifle. My 270, for instance, it weighs less than 12 pounds without a scope on it. With the scope on it, I think it only weighs a maximum about 13 pounds. So if you look at that and you think about what you are actually carrying and what you want to put on your rifle, you really, the weight can be a bit of an issue. And do you know what? There was such a fascination over weight, and the big deal about the Alpex Hick Micro coming out with the Alpex 4K Lite, that people were hoping it was going to be the new lightweight rifle scope, all-in-one rifle scope. It kind of failed on that side of things because it wasn't recoil rated to go to a centre fire. It was only able to be used with an air rifle or rimfire, and that is what Hick Micro put out themselves. It was an air rifle rimfire only scope. Now this scope weighs about 50 grams more than the Hick Micro Lite, and it's rated for centre fire. And I proved that. I was running 6.5 PRC, which is technically a Magnum round, and I put it on the 270, 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's been on the 22-250 and the 223, as well as the 22LR. Now, I don't think I put it on the 17 HMR, I can't remember. I think I did. No, I didn't. I put it on the 22LR. I was thinking today I had put it on the 17 HMR, but I hadn't put it on. That doesn't matter, it's a rimfire anyway. So, yeah, there's a few things that this is better, and it does better than the Alpex 4K. One of the best things about this scope, and I know this is way, way better than the Alpex and any other scope of its design, is the battery. The battery, it lasts forever, especially when you put it on standby. Got no issues wherever. I mean, I must have had this running 6 hours on standby, and the battery didn't even go down that much. It takes a 21-700 battery, and it just goes into the side here. That's a 21-700, so it's slightly thicker than an 18-650, And I kid you not, you get around about 6 hours runtime on it. I've been running videos over this 2 days. I never even had an issue. Do you know what? Couldn't believe how good the battery is on this, and how long it lasts. So that is one thing that this stands towers above any other scope on the market, is this seems just to last forever. The actual image refresh rate, for instance, it's 60 FPS, which is proper 4K. Sorry, it's 30 FPS, which is proper 4K, where you have the HIC Micro Alpex, the 4K full version, not the light version. It is only 15 FPS. So there's a few things that this does a lot better. Now, image clarity at night, and this is where the problem with these rifles come, and this is where my kind of issue comes with this. And I'll show you. I have a scope here that is a DNT scope. Now this is the non-LRF version of the V2. It is there? To help if it's turned upside the right way up. This pretty much, it's not 4K, it's Ultra HD, but it's a very clear scope, and a lot of guys are loving this. This is a great scope. Like, it's really small compared. It's a small scope compared to that one. Now the problem with this scope is, because it's a smaller compact scope, and the shape of it, a lot of people find that this doesn't look aesthetically pleasing on the rifle. It sits kind of further back. Leaves a lot of real estate, empty space on the top of the rifle. It doesn't look like a normal scope, unlike the 4K with the 30mm tube. This is not a traditional style scope. This has something that none of the 4Ks come with, and that is a built-in IR. Now, this built-in IR here is a phenomenal IR unit. It is a V-cell. This one's the 850 NM V-cell IR. Now, I get a good, clean, quality night vision image with this unit. I don't need to have, for night shooting, another IR torch. Now, day capabilities are fantastic as well. Really good color, very sharp, and it's 5-20. The base MAC is 5 times, which means that you are getting a really good quality base mag with a high zoom. The problem with this is when you are shooting something that, if you've got the 5-20 model, is when you're shooting something that is very close to 25, 30 to 50 yards. Your field of view around your target isn't very good. But an extremely capable, fantastic upgrade to the original Zulus. Now this scope, I didn't think they could make the original Zulus better, and this scope did do that, and it's just great. It is a great scope. But this review is not about this scope. It's about this one. It is about this one. And these scopes at night will always only be as good as the IR unit. Now, this thing has been sold for $649.99. Now, that's pretty much the standard price all across the board. I haven't seen anybody put it any cheaper. I haven't seen a few that would be more expensive, but the recommended price, or the price that DNT has asked all the retailers to set it at, is around about $649.99. Now, that is cheaper than what the Alpex is by, I think, around about £100. I haven't double checked, and I haven't really paid much attention. I did ask HIC Micro for a loan of an Alpex so I could do a side-by-side, and they actually said no, they weren't willing to do it. Now, I've already done a review on the Alpex you can go and check that out. I thought it was a great scope. I'm not putting the Alpex down. I am not a DNT stooge and ignorant to other products. Look, I just done a Rix, and Rix is another Chinese brand that is completely different from DNT. Again, I am not a brand snob, so I'm not going to say this is 100 times better than the Alpex. There's many things that the Alpex probably does just the same as this, if not a little better. But what I'm saying is what this does better than the Alpex for daytime work is it's lightweight. It's easily to be used on it can easily be used on a stalking rifle. It's not taking much weight, and it has that night vision capability as well. The warranty aftermarket for DNT is dealt with in the UK. You do not have to send your scope back to China. It gets sent down to Lincoln. Andy down there, he basically tests, looks at the scope. If he thinks it's a warranty issue that it needs to go back to China or needs to go back to manufacturer, then you get a new scope or a replacement scope, and he then sends that's your dodgy scope off to China. Now, it doesn't happen very often. Most of the things that we find on these scopes is down to user error. It's been down, like, guys have mounted it weirdly, or they've not hit save when they should have. If you do have a warranty issue with this, you've got a 5-year warranty. Basically, it just goes back to Lincoln. It's assessed in Lincoln, and then if it can't be fixed in Lincoln, then you get a new scope, and the dodgy one gets sent back to manufacturer to see what the hell was wrong with it. The laser rangefinder and the ballistic calculator in these are infamously brilliant. I've had no issues with any of these at all. Ergonomics wise, the buttons seem to be okay. The only complaint I have with the buttons is you can't really feel that you've pressed them. There's no click. So when you touch a button, for instance, with a pair of gloves, you won't be able to feel the button. That's the only thing I don't like about the buttons. It's also got these kind of, seeing the camera, it's got kind of little guards between the buttons as well. So when you've got gloves, you're kind of feeling from them as well. But I've not really had a problem. I found myself when the scope first came out, when I first got my hands on the scope, as holding in, say, the record button when I just need to tap it. You know, there's a lot of kind of one-tap features on this where you don't really need to kind of mess about with it too much in holding down things. You still have to hold down to shut it off, but and a little bit of a hold and press for it to turn it on. But yeah, it's to get the functions to work, you basically just tap them. Likewise, the top button here that's on there, it's a minimal play button, so you can't hear any clicks. You kind of just have to feel for that soft touch, and then you go through the menu with the top dial. The top dial is not that hard to use. When you've got a torch on, you can actually just run your thumb over whether left or right. Clarity through the scope is great. I've said that a few times. I'm just repeating myself. But when you guys are judging these scopes just on silly videos, remember, when I record a video, I may be looking at it in 4K, but I have to upload, it only records in 1080. And when I upload it to YouTube or whatever, then it's compressing it a little bit more as well because of the upload space. So you're not getting the full quality of what you actually see through the scope. And you'll hear guys say this about every scope, and that is a fact. These people made it great for us to record our shots, but they didn't quite make it brilliant enough to be able to see how we see it when we're taking the shot. And the reason for that is space. Space is a big deal. These have got about 32 gigs worth of memory in them. 32 gig is a lot of memory. If you go back a few years, you go back 15 years, 20 years, there was whole hard drives that were 32 gig. Now we're talking like a 32 gig SD drive inside one of these units. of storage. Now, if this was to record in 4K, you would need a terabyte for to put in here, and I don't think that's even possible right now. The heat in one of these scopes would be horrendous. You would get a lot of thermal work and thermal overload. Is this worth buying? Right, that's the question that everybody is asking. Should I buy this over a V2? Whether I purchase this over a V2, then that is completely down to how you want your rifle to look. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the stuff that is in this is in your V2. However, the compact nature of the V2 is very good. The clarity of the V2, and it's a very robust unit on the V2. The one thing that would sway me to purchase the V2 over one of these is the built-in IR. The built-in IR for me is the deal breaker, because the fact of the matter is that for me, purchasing another torch at 150 quid or £200 to get the same quality as what the V2 V-Cell is, just doesn't make sense to me. I want a scope that does everything, and the V2 does, well, actually, the Thermite 635 does everything that I could ever want from a scope. However, as a stocking scope, ease of use, lightweight, without the IR, and if I had a really good IR that done me further than what the 150 yard IR that I have, then this is a really, really good option to buy. But again, a lot of guys don't like what the V2 looks like on the rifle. They will like this. They will like how this is and how easy this is to set up, how easy it is to zero, and the quality that is within it. I think the Zulus 4K holds its own above everything else that's on the market right now for digital night and day vision scopes. Now that I'm talking digital night vision and digital day vision scopes. I think the features that DNT have put into this scope has made it kick out a little bit better than the rest. And I mean all of them, even the AGM, which is technically HIC, right? I've looked at many of these scopes, I've used them in the field, and I have no hassle using any of those scopes in the field. They all work. They all are out there. What you guys are looking for, where it kind of we think about this is that all these scopes are genuinely usable. Yes, there's some in the market that are just like so poor that for the same money, what is the point? You know, it's just, we'll say that for the same kind of money that you're spending for a decent scope, what is the point of purchasing them? I've had plenty of ones in the past, like Pards and things like that I've just like haven't even reviewed because quality has just been so poor. The quality that is coming out from these brands right now are all very, very good. You need to pick, you need to really nitpick at what you want from a scope. You as a shooter are the only person that can do that. Not me. I can review these scopes to death and tell you they're brilliant. But in the end, you might find something that scope is better at than, say, another scope is. Or likewise, that other scope might be better than that scope. You will nitpick, and you can find that. But for a lot of you guys who have been complaining for years over weight, I mean, yeah, the actual trend, I'm going to promise you, this is going to be the last of the light scopes. These are all going to be the last of the light scope. HIC, DNT, everybody else. As soon as they start working with higher sensor thermals, wanting larger base magnifications, like 3 times magnification, we're going to be talking about 70mm lenses, 70mm objective lenses. We are going to be talking we're already starting. The likes of Optics, the likes of Pulsar are all running 60s and 70s, and they are telescopes to get those 1280 sensors to run a base mag of 3 to 4 times base magnification. You are going to need bigger objective lenses on those thermals. So the trend going forward on all of these night vision and thermal scopes to get that better clarity that you guys are asking for, the weight is going to go up and up and up before it starts to come back down. I hope you stay safe. Doesn't matter which one you purchase, you're going to come up with a great scope. The Zulus 4K or ZT 4K is $649.99. Caledonia Gundog Supplies are one of the retailers for it. Scott Country International, Optics Warehouse, and a few others, individual retailers will be starting to get stock in now. I think a lot of the stock started to arrive. Most companies have sold out already, and there's a lot of good feedback on this scope coming, and that's not from me, that's from other people. I am not a DNT stooge, as some people have called me on my chats. I am telling you the truth. It's that there's a lot of things that this will beat the Alpex over. But if you're happy with your Alpex, don't go changing it either. I'll speak to you later. Happy hunting, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next review, which is coming up very, very soon. I've got more footage as well that will be popped in and out of shorts and things over the next coming weeks. And I'll see you at the British Shooting Show. I'll speak to you soon.
Like and subscribe. Go on. You know you want to. Do it.